What is a story you have been telling yourself that you need to stop telling yourself that is no longer serving you, that is maybe making you sad for no reason, or keeping you from taking action on your dreams or your goals? Well, let's rewrite it with the new moon in Gemini. And hi, I'm Mel, aka Pocket Mystic, and I'm on a mission to make mysticism more accessible through tarot readings, astrological updates, and guided meditations that fit seamlessly into your schedule. So today we're going to keep it brief. We're going to talk about the new moon in Gemini. This is a really beautiful, lovely, fun new moon. We're coming off of this beautiful time of Jupiter and Venus going conjunct in Cancer. Just a really, really lovely period. July is going to be super exciting. And this new moon is really all about rewriting the stories we've been telling ourselves, right? The stories that maybe came from our childhood or from bad situations that we've been in or bad relationships that we've been in, things that we wrote in a time of distress and a time of pain and a time of trauma that we get to rewrite now. That we get to rewrite so that we can be in deeper alignment with ourselves and what we want and what is true about us. Because if you're telling yourself anything about yourself besides that you are wonderful and amazing and you deserve great things, then we need to rewrite it, right? Unless, you're intentionally causing harm to people, which I don't think you're doing if you're listening to my YouTube. So that is what this new moon is all about. So I'm going to go very quickly, because I want to keep this very brief, through what this means for your rising sign, like what area of your life especially this new moon is lighting up to rewrite. And then I'm going to do a collective tarot spread to support us during this time. So let's talk about what this means for you individually. So I'm going to go in zodiacal order. So we'll start with Aries. So if you are an Aries rising, the question I want you to ask yourself is, what have I told myself about who I am outside of my home, how I communicate, maybe my siblings, my relationships with extended family? Like, what have I been telling myself I'm like outside of maybe my comfort zone that is not suiting me? Like, are you telling yourself that you're not fun? Or are you telling yourself that you're not magnetic, that you're not interesting? Like, what is the story there? Are you telling yourself you're not a good communicator? Like, this is a great time to sort of rewrite those stories. If you're a Taurus rising, this is a great time to ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about what I am worth that I want to get rid of, right? That I want to stop limiting myself with, that I want to stop making me feel sad, that I want to stop making me feel like not whimsical. Like, what is the story around your self-worth that you're telling yourself? Let's rewrite it in this new moon. And if you're a Gemini rising, what are you telling yourself about yourself? What are you telling yourself about how you navigate in the world, how you are in the world, how you're perceived? It's time to rewrite those. If you are a Cancer rising, I know this one is going to be hard for you. It's hard for me. I'm a Cancer rising, hun. But what are you telling yourself about your secrets, about your shadow that is maybe holding you back? Like, do some of those secrets not need to be secrets? Are they not that embarrassing? Can they be revealed and you can be like, oh my gosh, that's great. Is this thing you have as a shadow, is it a golden shadow? Is it time to let it shine? Let's rewrite the stories there. If you're a Leo rising, do you like where you live? Do you like your community? Do you want to change it? What's the story you're telling yourself about it there that you want to rewrite? How about your friends? How about how you interact and show up on social media? Like, let's rewrite whatever is holding you back from being that shining Leo rising. If you are a Virgo rising, what are you telling yourself about your career? Or if you don't have like a classic career, your volunteer work, like what you feel is your life's work, how you are seen, like what are you telling yourself that is holding you back from having this public life, this career, this vocation that is really most aligned with you? If you're a Libra rising, this one's really interesting because it's kind of asking you to question, like, how do you navigate through the world? Like, what are you telling yourself in your story about how you navigate through the world? Either like physically through travel, like what are you telling yourself you're allowed to travel to, or how much travel you're allowed to have? Are you telling yourself you can't learn more, you're too old, or there's no point, or it's a time to rewrite your philosophy about the world? I don't know. If you're a Scorpio rising, okay, you're gonna love this one. But what are you telling yourself about other people's resources and how they impact you and control your behavior and or death? What are you telling yourself about death? That's the part I thought you might love. Or your mental health. Like these places where you feel like you don't have full power, what are you telling yourself there? That you want to rewrite because you're a Scorpio rising, dang it, and you are intuitive and you know what is going on and you don't want to be out of your control element. What are you writing there? If you are a Sagittarius rising, we're probably friends. I have so many people I'm connected to that are Sag rising. I love it. What are you telling yourself about your committed partnerships? What are you telling yourself about the people that you feel bound to, either through marriage, through work, through people that you have legally tied yourself to somehow? How, I don't know, like, do you have tenants or something? Are you a tenant? Like, what are you telling yourself about these committed partnerships that is no longer serving you? Because you're Sagittarius rising, you need to be free. If you are a Cap rising, what are you telling yourself about work? You're like, I'm always telling myself about work. But what's the story about your daily habits, about your work, about your rituals that is no longer serving you? Or maybe your health. Like, are you not letting yourself rest enough? Are you telling yourself that rest is not productivity? Let's rewrite that story. If you are a Aquarius rising, what are you telling yourself about your creative life force? Whether that's literally, like literally creating life through children, your fertility story, right? What are you telling yourself about your creative projects, about your creative desires that is no longer serving you? Maybe like about your pleasure. Surely you're not telling yourself negative stories about the pleasure you deserve because you're an Aquarius rising, but what are you telling yourself there that might be limiting? If you are a Pisces rising, what are you telling yourself about your home? Like, what stories do you have there? Like, how you have to show up, how you have to engage, what you expect of other people, of your parents, of people who give for you, of people you give to, of the way you're a parent. Like, what stories are you telling yourself there that are burdening you, that are keeping you from swimming in the two directions that you're meant to swim in, right? So that is what we're going to focus on for each rising sign. And now I'll very quickly do a collective reading. But as always, if you want this to be more personalized, you can take the spread and pull it for yourself. And if you're not sure what it means, you can always comment the spread in the comments and I'll give you an interpretation. So the first card that we'll be pulling is the story you've been telling, the story we've been telling collectively, like the narrative that's been running in the background that we keep returning to about who we are as a people, about our lives, and about what is possible for us. Card 2, where did it come from? What is the villain origin story of this terrible story that we don't want in our lives anymore? What's the experience? Who are the people? Who are the versions of ourselves as a society that we wrote this for in the first place? On the slide, I'll be doing this for you personally so you can see how to read it for yourself. And then card 3, what's the plot twist? What wants to be true instead? Not like from toxic positivity, right? But what's a more honest, more generous, more accurate story that wants to come through because it's true. And then for card 4, what is the first line of the new chapter? What is one concrete thing we can think, we can say or do during this lunar cycle that embodies the new narrative? How does the rewrite actually begin? I'm just going to say we can believe that we have more power than we think we can, whatever the cards say, but let's go consult the cards. Okay, the cards. I have a lot to say as always, and they needed a lot of shuffling this time. Okay, so what is the story we've been telling ourselves collectively? King of Wands. You're like, isn't that a good story? Well, It can be, but I think in this instance, what it is saying is like, we feel like we have to always be on top of everything, right? We have to be in the position of owning the narrative. We have to be in the position of being the brilliant one, always having these amazing ideas, always being creative, always being inspiring, always driving, always leading. And I just think that sounds like cool, right? It's like girl boss energy, right? Even though it's the King of Wands, but it's exhausting. It's not empowering to feel like it's me. I have to always be the one, and I have to constantly stay on top, and I have to constantly show that I can lead, I can drive, I can inspire, I can make things happen. Like, that is exhausting. So we don't have to always be on. We don't have to always be generating. We don't always have to be the one with the plan. That is a heavy crowd to wear every single day. We just need to show up as we are, with what we have to give that day. And I think, doesn't that sound nice, right? Doesn't that sound less exhausting? And I feel like this is just generally where we're moving, but as a society, and I hope, but I think it's really saying, like, look, we all get to lay this down. Like, we're only keeping it up because we all feel like we have to, right? And then card 2, where did it come from? We have the Four of Swords, which is a really interesting card because it's about contemplation, solitude, laying low, like taking a moment. And I think where it came from is at some point, we all had a point in our lives. I know I did for sure. And I actually only realized this like 3 months ago. And it's literally been blowing my life up in the best ways possible since I realized this. But a point of time where we feel like we let ourselves rest, we let ourselves breathe, we let ourselves have a moment, and something bad happened. Like in my example, I was criticized for that, and then I was like, oh, no, I will never do that again. I will be the best at everything. I will be on top of everything. I will never rest. I will never make a mistake. This happened to me when I was like 7 years old, by the way. Okay, so I think for us, it's like, think of a moment where you felt like maybe you didn't felt like you'd done everything you were supposed to do. That was my example. I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do, and you just let yourself breathe, and you're like, no. Okay, I have to be on top of every single thing. Things I don't even think about being on top of, I have to think about being on top of, Maybe I'm inserting myself too much here, but whatever it is for you, the moment you had where you felt like you were maybe just chilling or like just taking a beat, or you went on vacation or something, and then you came back and it was like, hey, no, we don't do that. We don't rest here, right? That's our culture. That's our society that we live in. So that's where the response is coming from. This response of like, you have to constantly keep burning on both ends, right? And then what's the plot twist? 7 of Swords. So I kind of think the 7 of Swords gets a bad rap a lot of times. It's like the trickster, which, by the way, is very Gemini coded, okay? Swords are air signs. Gemini is an air sign, like the trickster, the one slipping away quietly in the night. Thing about the 7 of Swords, he's only taking what he needs and leaving the rest. He doesn't take every single sword, right? And he earned those swords. So I think the plot twist here is saying, if you stop performing to the full King of Wands, I'm the leader, I'm always on top of it, I'm always inspiring, I'm always figuring out, you're allowed to quietly put down some of what you've been carrying without announcing it to anyone and without anyone noticing. The more honest story here isn't that you're not a leader or a visionary. I know that you are. You know that you are. It's that you've been overgiving, overperforming, carrying more swords that were never yours to carry. And the rewrite here is that you get to lay them down. Like, they're not yours. They don't belong to you. That responsibility doesn't belong to you. And through doing that, you're actually able to engage in the things where you're a leader and a visionary naturally, without effort, without striving, from a place that fills you up instead of drains you. Love that. And then for card 4, the last line of the new chapter, we have Six of Cups. And this is really interesting because this has been coming up a ton in my client readings. But here, the new chapter begins with returning to genuine joy. I think this came up in our June. Hold on, let me check. Yes, it came as our Jupiter-Venus gift. So I think this is really just reminding us to go back to like what brought us joy originally. Like maybe whatever we felt like was stupid because of whoever told us it was stupid, or we weren't allowed to enjoy it, or whatever. Like whatever our most pure, innocent selves found joyful, like not even thinking about it, just engaging in like, oh, this is where I feel pulled. Like that is the first line of the new chapter. It's uncomplicated delight. It's something we've loved and like still feel drawn to. So just letting yourself engage in what brings you pleasure, whether it has a means to an end, whether it brings you money or it feels productive, or it feels like you're being that leader from the King of Wands. Just letting it be enough that it fills you up, that it brings you joy. The new story starts in our body. And I really think that is true. I need to stop talking. This was supposed to be 10 minutes, but I really think it's true that we are going to be living so much more in our bodies and less in our heads in this new paradigm shift. And we know what brings us joy in our bodies. And I think this card is just encouraging us to let our body lead us instead of letting our mind and the stories we have there lead us. So anyway, however it plays out for you, we've kind of all built this relentless identity around never being still. We've been carrying so much more than we share or let people know. And the new moon in Gemini is asking us to quietly put some of it. You don't have to put all of it down. There are things you have to do and things you have to show up for, but there are some things that you do not need to do, that you are not responsible for. So what can you put down and walk back towards what you actually love? So the rewrite isn't dramatic, right? We're not quitting our jobs or abandoning people who care about us unless you feel very called to do that, and then do what you feel called to do. But the rewrite here isn't dramatic. It is small, it is sweet, it's real. It's just like, could you put one thing down? And what is it? So anyway, I'd love to hear that lands for you. I'm so excited about this new moon. I'm so excited about July. I'm so excited about the rest of June. And I can't wait to hear how it's all landing for you. I will see you again soon. I'm going to be talking about Chiron moving into Taurus. Oh, and the summer solstice. So wishing you a happy new moon, and I'll catch you soon.